My fiancé slept with my sister a week before our wedding. He begged for forgiveness, but I laughed in his face. 2 years ago, I had to break off my engagement because my fiancé cheated on me with my sister, and it happened just 1 week before the wedding. Just 3 days ago, he had the audacity to try and return. My ex-fiancé Jason and I had known each other since we were kids. We went to the same school all our lives and started dating when we were 14. After dating for almost 12 years, we decided to get engaged. It was obviously the right thing to do, at least for me. He was the one who proposed, so I honestly did not have any reason to suspect him of cheating, least of all with my sister since she and I were also very close. My youngest sister Lily is 2 years younger than me, and she and I were pretty much best friends growing up. Even at my wedding, she was supposed to be my maid of honor, but that never ended up happening. A couple of weeks after we got engaged, I started noticing that Jason's behavior had become very weird. It was just small things, like he would seem to zone out very frequently whenever I was talking about the wedding and mostly tried to avoid talking about it. He spent a lot of time at work, and it felt like he didn't want to see me. I don't know, it was just weird. So I did try to speak to him several times and told him that just in case he was having second thoughts about having the wedding so soon, we could still postpone it and wait for a better time. We didn't have to get married that year itself. But he told me that he wanted to get married and reassured me constantly. For almost 8 months he kept leading me on, but I guess he seemed to find his spine just 1 week before our wedding. Maybe it was that, or maybe the fact that my sister was pregnant, that forced him to finally tell me about their affair. Either way, it really shattered me when he told me about it, and the worst part was that now that she was pregnant, he was planning on getting married to her. According to what Jason had told me, they always had a bit of a flirtation every time they would meet, and that hadn't been a recent development. It had just started a couple of years before we got engaged. He never told me about it because he thought it was just harmless, but then one night he was out drinking with his friends and he ran into Lily, and that was it. Since both of them were drunk, they ended up hooking up and promised never to do it again, but it happened several times after that. By the time we got engaged, they were having a full-blown affair. He told me that he thought getting engaged to me would help them stop, but it didn't end, and he tried to make it sound like they were really helpless, but I wasn't buying it. The day that Jason told me the truth, that he had been having an affair with Lily for the past year, I returned the engagement ring to him that day itself and told him to move out of the house. I guess he had prepared for that since he already had his bags packed and left without a word. After that, I did not speak to my sister either because I really didn't have anything to say to her. With just 1 week to go for the wedding, I knew that there were going to be a lot of expenses that were going to go to waste, so I told Jason to deal with it because I was not going to be spending anything. Now, I was obviously heartbroken, so I didn't even leave my house for the next couple of days. Lily came to visit me a couple of days after I found out and had to return without even getting to see me because I wanted nothing to do with her anymore. She had left a note saying that she was really sorry about everything at my door before leaving, but it meant nothing to me. Neither of them could take back what they had done, and the truth of the matter was that she was having a baby with the men that I loved. In circumstances like this, most people would have expected their family to stand by them, but instead of doing that, my parents decided to stand by Lily as if she was the victim here. I don't understand what they were thinking, but on the day that we were supposed to get married, my parents called me in the morning to ask how I was doing. They had been doing that every day for a week since I found out about Jason and Lily, and while making small talk with them, they suddenly told me that Jason and Lily were getting married in a private ceremony that day and they were going to be present there. This was a shock to me because after hearing about the affair, my parents had been furious and had told me that they were never going to speak to Lily again. But now, all of a sudden, they were telling me that they were going to be present to bless the union between my ex-fiancé and my sister. When I did not say anything, they started explaining to me that they had been very upset with Lily, but she had begged them to attend because she did not want to get married without her parents. On top of that, she was 6 weeks pregnant and really emotional, so my parents felt like they had to be there for her and hoped that I would understand. I told them just one thing: they could attend her wedding if they wanted to, but then I would never be speaking to them again. They tried to tell me that I was being unfair, but honestly at that point I didn't care. So eventually my parents just told me that they were going to be attending the wedding and I could be pissed if I wanted to be, but even Lily was their daughter and they couldn't help it, so that was that. And since then 2 years have passed, but I have never spoken to either Lily or my parents after that. Gradually, even the rest of the family was able to find out about it because obviously this is not something that people can keep a secret for long. Once they found out, they spoke to me and I told them the truth about everything. So right now there are very few people in our family who are on speaking terms with my parents or Lily. I didn't really know what they had been up to, but thanks to Jason I now do. 3 days ago I was about to leave for work in the morning when Jason showed up, and that was quite a shock for me. I hadn't seen him in 2 years and I hadn't even heard about him since I had told all my friends that I didn't want to know what he was doing. I was quite speechless when I saw him outside my door, and he took that opportunity to tell me that he was here to apologize for everything that happened in the past and try to give our relationship a second chance. If I'm being honest, I was just frozen. This was the first time that I was seeing him after our terrible breakup, since I had done everything to avoid seeing him. For him to be standing outside my door after 2 years was a bit surreal for me. So because I wasn't saying anything, he continued talking and told me that his relationship with Lily had turned out to be a sham and he regretted ever getting together with her. He told me that if she hadn't been pregnant he wouldn't even have married her, and now they were getting divorced because he had just found out that the baby was not even his. Apparently, he had found texts on her phone recently since he had been suspecting her of having an affair with someone else because she had been acting very strangely. On checking her phone behind her back, he realized that for the past couple of years, she had been having an affair with her boss. She had been with Jason for a little over 2 years, but with her boss she had had an on and off relationship for almost 4 years now. When he confronted her about it, she broke down and said that she had really tried to move on from him and forget about him, but he was her first relationship, so she just couldn't leave. It was kind of gross because, according to my calculations, Lily had started working at that company when she was 22, which is when her relationship with her boss first started. At that time, her boss was already in his late 30s, and from what I knew, he was a married man with a 2-year-old kid. Anyway, Jason told me that when he had confronted her about the chats that he had seen, she had told him the truth and said that recently, in the past couple of months, she and her boss had managed to patch things up, and he had decided that he was going to leave his wife for her. Then she finally told him the truth about their kid as well, and since there had been some overlap when she got pregnant, she had managed to get a paternity test conducted, and fortunately for Jason, his son was not actually his. So now, not only was he getting divorced, but he was also going to lose his kid, even though he had filed for at least partial custody. But Lily's boss is very well connected and influential, so it's anybody's guess. He was here to tell me about all of it and try to make things right with me because he thought that this was all karma for screwing me over 2 years back. So now he felt like he had to apologize to me, and he also wanted to ask me if I wanted to patch things up with him and give our relationship a second chance because we had been together for a really long time, and the past 2 years had just been nothing but a huge mistake for him. By then I had processed certain things, and when he asked me if I wanted to get back with him, I literally just laughed in his face. It was a cruel thing to do, but it's fine. I wanted to be cruel. He seemed shocked after I ended up laughing, and I told him that whatever was happening to him right now was exactly what he deserved. He had cheated on me with the person that I considered closest in the world, and now that person had cheated on him as well. Life had come full circle and I couldn't be happier about it. Then, just to rub salt in the wound, I told him that I hoped he wouldn't get anything out of the divorce and that he would lose custody of his son because maybe then he would realize exactly how awful he had made me feel. After having said that, I told him to get out of my front yard and slammed the door shut in his face. Then I went back inside my bedroom and started getting dressed for work, but ended up not going to work at all because I was too riled up about what had just happened. 3 days have passed since then, and I had managed to forget about that interaction with Jason and put him out of my mind, but this morning Jason's parents called me. I didn't exactly get a chance to speak to them after I broke up with Jason, but I hadn't blocked them or anything, and it was strange that they were reaching out to me after 2 years. But they had been good to me before things ended, so I decided to answer the call since I knew that they wouldn't be calling if it wasn't something urgent. When I picked up my phone, Jason's mom told me that she knew Jason had come to see me 3 days ago, but she really needed to know what we had spoken about. Ever since he had come back from that meeting with me, he had locked himself in his room and had refused to even come out for meals. All he did was cry throughout the day, and he would only come out after everyone had gone to bed just so he could eat without anyone speaking to him. Apparently, he had been refusing to talk to anybody and kept saying that he deserved all of this. In short, he was a pathetic mess, and his parents were getting worried, so they decided to call me since I was the last person that he had met before this happened. I felt kinda bad because his mother was a really nice woman and she sounded really worried about her son, but I didn't want to lie to her, so I told her exactly what I had said. She went silent for a couple of minutes. She then told me that just 2 weeks ago he had found out that Lily had been cheating on him, and that had been tough enough by itself. But then he also found out that the boy he had been raising was not even his own son. That had really taken a toll on him, and he was really scared of losing custody of his son because it's not like he was biologically related to him. On top of that, Lily's boss was a man in a powerful position, so he had been very paranoid and anxious, and he had kept talking about me, how all of this was karma for how he had treated me. It was actually his mother who had suggested that he should speak to me and try to make things right, even though she hadn't told him to get back together with me because I think everyone knows that I wouldn't take him back anyway. After explaining the situation to me, she told me that she knew that Jason had screwed up and he had been a horrible partner to me, but she just needed me to forgive him, or at least tell him that I forgive him, even if I didn't mean it, just so he would be able to feel a bit better about himself and find the strength to fight against the odds. Because for him to just give up like this, it was not like her son. And that's when she started breaking down. I felt kinda bad for her and I really didn't want her to cry, so I told her that I would think about it. However, I have thought about it and I have no intention of telling him that I forgive him, even if it's just for the sake of saying it. I don't want to say it because I don't mean it. I don't forgive him and I don't think I ever will. I just don't have it in me. But saying it to his mother? That will be pretty difficult for me, and I feel like this might be an overreaction right now, but it's just how I feel. So, am I wrong to tell my ex-fiancé's mother that I don't forgive him and I'm not going to say it to him either? Update 1. Thank you so much for all the comments and support. It has been 2 days since Jason's mother contacted me, and I've decided that the next time that she contacts me to ask whether I will be willing to speak to him or not, I'm just going to tell her that I'm not. After going through the comments and speaking to a couple of friends and close family members, I realized that I'm not obliged to be nice to Jason. I'm even feeling guilty about it, and questioning my decision is because I'm a normal person and usually people do tend to find it difficult to draw boundaries even when it's well-deserved, so I feel much better about my decision now and I'm sure that I'm not the a-hole. Talking to my friends about it was a good decision for another reason, because by talking to them we were able to find out that Lily's boss's soon-to-be ex-wife is actually related to my friend's girlfriend. She's a really distant cousin, but there's some relation, and we were able to find out that she and her husband had been in an open marriage for the past couple of years, so technically her boss had not been cheating, but Lily had been. The only reason her boss had even stayed with his wife was because he wanted to avoid the whole alimony thing, and he was actually not interested in getting divorced at all. He just wanted to continue hooking up with Lily on the down low and didn't want anything serious. But apparently, Lily had threatened to go public with the affair, and that's why he had been forced to file for a divorce from his wife. If Lily had gone public with the affair, his reputation would have taken a serious hit because after all, she was still an employee. Lily is still working in the same company and he is still her boss, and even though everyone pretty much knows about their relationship, people pretend that it's not happening. However, once their respective divorces are finalized, they're going to keep everything under wraps for a couple of months before they finally come out with the truth. The ex-wife is pretty cool with all of this and has even been gossiping about his life, which is how my friend's girlfriend was able to find out, since though she's not exactly close with the woman, the gossip has spread pretty widely in the family. Apparently, she didn't mind the divorce, but she was demanding alimony and settlement and child support, and it's well-deserved, so it makes sense. I wish Lily had made better choices, and maybe her life wouldn't be what it is right now, but as long as she's happy, I guess. Update 2. Hey everyone, so almost a week has passed since I spoke to Jason's mother last. 2 days after my last update, she had called me up to ask whether I had made a decision or not, and I had told her that no matter what, I was not going to tell Jason that I had forgiven him because I really don't, and I don't think that I owe it to him to say it just because he's been feeling upset about whatever is going on in his life. I had also felt really heartbroken when he had left me after cheating on me with my sister, but nobody had been there for me, and that experience had really hardened me, so now I really don't have it in me to feel bad for Jason, the guy who had screwed me over in the worst way possible and had left me with trust issues for life. Instead of accepting it, his mother started arguing with me and said that that one conversation with me had led Jason to completely break down, and now it was my responsibility to fix it. I thought it was ridiculous of her to blame me for his breakdown. I had only been honest with him and told him that he deserved every bit of this because he did. If he had genuinely expected me to just forgive him after just one meeting, he was sorely mistaken, and that was not my fault. Then his mother started expressing how disappointed she was in my behavior because she had always treated me like family, like the daughter she never had, and she was just asking me for this one little favor for the sake of her son, and I wasn't even ready to do that much for her. I got really annoyed at that because yes, she had been very kind to me when I had been with Jason, but after that we hadn't even spoken. If she really had considered me the daughter she never had, She would have checked up on me at least one time after her son broke my heart, but she never bothered. So I told her that I was pretty disappointed by that too, and since she didn't have an answer to that, she told me that it was my family's duty to take care of me and check up on me, not hers. It didn't even make any sense because she was the one who had just said that she had always treated me like a daughter, and I knew that she was just speaking nonsense at this point because she had nothing logical to say. So I just told her that I had made my decision and she had to respect it, and then I hung up. After that, she did try to contact me for a couple of days until today. I came back home from work around 5:45 in the evening, and at around 7 o'clock she showed up at my house. I was preparing dinner and looking forward to a quiet night, so I really didn't feel inclined to speak to her. When I saw that it was her standing outside the door, I told her to leave, and she said that she was not going to go anywhere without talking to me. It was really annoying for me because I had made it pretty clear to her the last time that we spoke that I did not have any intention of speaking to Jason again because I could understand that he was going through a tough time, but since we're not together anymore, it's not my problem anymore. I told her yet again if she thought that bothering me repeatedly would get me to change my mind, then she was wrong. All it would do was just piss me off and maybe even make me call the cops on her, which I really didn't want to do because she was an older person and I had really respected her in the past. So I told her not to force me to do anything that she wouldn't like because I didn't want to be put in that position. At that point, she started sobbing outside my door and said that she just didn't know what to do because it seemed like Jason had given up on everything and she couldn't watch her son break down like this. As a mother, it hurt her heart to see him like this, and she felt like I was the only person who would be able to fix it, and that's why she was so desperate to talk to me. I felt really bad for her, so it was then that I opened the door and tried to be as gentle as I could. I invited her in, handed her a glass of water to help her calm down because she was obviously in a really bad condition, and I politely explained to her that I could understand it was very difficult for her to watch her son suffer so much, but honestly, he had also had his flaws and I really wasn't the person who'd be able to help out here because after what he had done to me, I just didn't have it in me to see him again because I knew that even looking at him would piss me off. She tried to tell me to just give it a chance, but I told her that it would not be possible for me because I had to look out for myself as well. What he had done to me 2 years back was just unacceptable, and it was not something that I had moved on from. Since then, I hadn't even dated anyone because I just didn't have it in me, and he had really messed me up for good. So I was not going to go out of my way to try and be kind to that person. The most that I could do for him was to stay out of his way and never speak to him again, and she needed to understand and respect that. Even though she was his mother, she knew that he had been terrible to me, and it was unfair for her to ask me to help him out. When I explained all of this to her gently, she seemed to understand, and after being quiet for a couple of minutes, she said that she was really sorry about bothering me, but she just didn't know what to do. Then she left, and I've been on my own since then. I was glad that I was able to work this out with her without having to call the cops or whatever because I really wouldn't have liked that anyway. After she left, I finished making dinner and was about to sit down with some wine and watch a movie when I received a text from Jason. It was from a burner phone since I had blocked him everywhere, but then almost an hour and a half passed since his mother had left my house, and he had texted me to let me know that she had reached back home and they had had a discussion. He said that he was really thankful to me for treating his mother with kindness, even though his family had done nothing but caused me trouble. He told me that for what it's worth, he really was sorry about what had happened, and he could totally understand why I had said that he deserved all of this because he really did. He told me that this was the last message that he was sending me because after this he was going to try and be a better man so that maybe one day he would actually be the kind of guy who actually deserved me. That made me tear up a bit because even though I don't want anything to do with him anymore, at one point he was my entire world, and it just sucked that he had screwed things up for us like this. But there was not much that we could do at this stage, so I just archived that message because I knew that reading it over and over again would only cause me more misery, and I went back to my dinner. Hopefully, everything will be fine now. Update 3. It has been 2 weeks since my last update, and this one is not about me. It's going to be about Lily. Thankfully, everything is going well in my life right now. Jason and his family stuck to their promises, and they did not bother me after that last meeting with his mother, and I was able to go back to my normal regular life. But I just heard some really hot gossip from my friend whose girlfriend is related to Lily's boss's ex-wife. Well, I guess I should refer to her as his wife now because I don't think they're getting divorced. Apparently, a few days ago, Lily's boss decided to cancel his divorce and told her that they couldn't continue this affair anymore because he had decided to clean up his act and go back to his wife. Obviously, she was ready to create a stink about it by posting about it and stuff, but he paid her off. She had to sign an NDA and quit her job, but she received a massive amount of money for it, so she's pretty much sorted for a really long time. I think she's going to agree to share custody of the son with Jason, which would be fair because regardless of who his actual biological father is, Jason was the one who had been raising him for so long. It's crazy how things worked out for them, but well, they're still getting divorced and no amount of money is going to make up for the fact that she lost both the men. It sucks that she was a terrible human being and she still got her way out of this, but that's how the world works, I guess. But it doesn't really matter to me. I'm happy with my life and my work, and I know that I'm leading an honest life and not trying to be a homewrecker. In a way, I'm glad that Jason and I did not end up married and Lily is no longer part of my life because it was really for the best. I'm living my best life right now, so that's all that really matters to me, and I know that I'm going to stay happy as long as I have my friends by my side. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.